I am ready now. I'm sorry.
Okay. Coco, you ready? I guess we're gonna start the timer when she decides. You're gonna have a 7-minute opener, and when Coco is ready, then you could start.
Okay. So yeah, we will have a 7-minute opener. That will be you, Wisdom, and I can start the time.
No, hold on. Wait. What's the debate? You have to tell them what's the debate.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So, hello, everyone. Thank you guys for waiting. The debate today is going to be Wisdomsongs versus Jessy on subjective morality is dangerous to a stable society. Wisdom is, of course, going to be taking the affirmation, while Jessy is going to be taking the negation. And for the format, it's going to be, standard format, 7-minute openers, 3 rounds of cross-examination, 5 minutes for each contestant, and 3-minute closers. So we'll be starting off the debate with Wisdomsongs doing her 7-minute opener. And I have 7 minutes on my phone, and I can start it whenever you're ready, Wisdom, or whenever you say your first word.
I am ready now. We can start. So tonight's topic is the danger of subjective morality. So to understand the dangers of subjective morality, I am going to invite you to examine a philosophical dilemma. We're going to call this Solomon's paradox. In this paradox, we confront a daunting question: what truly makes something good or bad? Now, Solomon is no longer alive, but when he was, he lived a very peculiar life. Here was his schedule. Every morning at 5 a.m., Solomon rose to prepare and serve breakfast for the homeless. By 8 a.m., he moved on to work with underserved youth. At 10 a.m., he visited an elderly care center, spending 3 hours with patients with no families. And at 1, he stopped into McDonald's for a quick lunch before his second job. Now, this brings us to his second job. Solomon's second job began at 2:30 p.m. His title: Schmurder for Hire Assassin. Each afternoon, he was assigned a target, someone between the ages of 10 and 65 years old. The reason for the assignment was always confidential, and Solomon never asked questions. He simply carried out his task swiftly and efficiently, without knowing why this particular person had to perish. He usually finished by 6 o'clock every single night. On his way home, Solomon would drop off 7 books at the local library, and he was in bed by 10:15, usually falling asleep to the Golden Girls or the Big Bang Theory. Everyone who encountered Solomon admired him. He was even awarded by the governor's office for civic engagement. This prompted Solomon to run for mayor, which he did, and he won. As mayor, Solomon instituted a citywide holiday called the Purge. We've all heard of that. Initially, this was met with resistance. The people, though, they eventually accepted it. Why? Because they trusted Solomon. They had only ever seen the kind-hearted man who fed the poor and cared for the elderly. They believed his opinion on right and wrong should guide them, and that would be fine. He argued that if someone wanted to purge another, it meant that they must be offended. And if they were offended, then a harm had already been done. And if harm was done, purging then was just. So then he justified it. And because of this justification, eventually people began purging in retaliation. When questioned, Solomon pointed to evolution. He said survival of the fittest, dominance, nature's way. 50 years later, the purge continues. Solomon is gone, but his ideology lives on. This story reveals the terrifying consequences of moral subjectivity. If morality is only opinion, if right and wrong are not grounded in anything objective, then how can we rightly condemn Solomon? How can we claim that a man who helps the poor in the morning and murders the innocent in the afternoon is immoral? We cannot, unless we appeal to an objective standard of good and evil. Now, this brings us back to the resolution for tonight. Subjective morality is dangerous to society. To support this, I'm going to offer you the following syllogism. Premise 1. If morality is subjective, then right and wrong are determined by individual or cultural preference rather than universal truth. Premise 2. If right and wrong are determined by preference, then any action, including the purge, can be justified by the individual or culture deeming it acceptable. Premise 3. When justification for moral actions depends solely on preference, society loses any stable basis to condemn harmful behavior. Conclusion. Given this paradigm, society cannot consistently or coherently condemn actions like Solomon's, making subjective morality a danger to societal safety and ethical integrity. And so here I'm going to rest my case. However, I do want to invite Tiny to respond. In her rebuttal, I would like for you, Tiny, to resolve this paradox and the logical syllogism that's been presented. You're going to have to bear the burden of proving that subjective morality does not endanger the safety of society. And that's all I have.
Okay, with that, I am pausing your timer, and you had 1 minute and 42 seconds on the clock. So thank you for your candor. Thank you for your opening statement. Jesse, now it's time for you to do your opening 7-minute opener. I can start the timer once you say your first word.
Okay. I want to start out by thanking AR for hosting this platform and Coco for co-hosting. These discussions where the best idea wins. I think these are productive conversations. I appreciate hosting platforms where debates like this can happen. I'm new to the philosophical realm, and this has been definitely a journey for me. That definitely been challenging, but and I do want to thank Wisdomsongs for offering this opportunity to have this debate as well. I want to start out with my opening by saying that I'm not convinced of an objective morality, and nor am I convinced that there is anything outside of the mind that sets a standard for morality. But I'm also not here to be convinced of or to convince others that objective or subjective morality exists, but that subjective morality is not dangerous to society, let alone a stable society, and is actually beneficial to society. I'll start with the definition of objective and subjective. Objective is real outside of a mind, belief, or stance of a person. Subjective principles are principles based on individual opinions, personal beliefs, or cultural norms. Different cultures have different rules and laws centered around moral ethics. The variations in systems demonstrates that morality is an objective, and that a lot of these moral ethics that are subjective are beneficial to society. Some examples of subjective moral principles that have changed over time through consensus and through the allowance of change are things like women's rights to vote or even own property. Another example could be the abolition of chattel slavery in America. Some examples of the application of objective moral principles would be absolute authoritarianism, like Stalin imposing absolutist sense of morals that ought to be followed by society under the threat of enforcement or punishment by government, or Mustache Man unaliving millions of people based on his absolutist moral principle. And even with colonization, those who colonized the indigenous and imposed their systems of morals on them in the same way, which, mind you, would be Christian morals, all of which are all historical dick moves. My opponent may suggest that without God, people cannot have moral systems. A lot of moral systems may exist without God. For example, Thailand, Norway, France, Turkey, Japan, Australia, Albania, and several others. Excuse me. We make rules in all of our different cultures, regardless of whether that society believes in a God. Without subjective moral principles, there's increased risk of moral superiority, which also increases the risk of severity of human conflict, and the odds of resolution would be ominously low. And in the words of Friedrich Nietzsche, I hope I said that right, Strength and vitality come from embracing the complexity and ambiguity of life rather than clinging to a rigid moral framework. And I'll concede the rest of my time.
Okay. And with that, I'm pausing the timer, and you had 4 minutes and 5 seconds left. So with that, both of the opening statements have been made. So now we're going to go to the affirmatives rebuttal, actually. Sorry, I might have got the format messed up a little bit, but it's good. There is going to be like rebuttals and then 2 rounds of cross-examination. But okay, Wisdomsongs, you get 5 minutes for a rebuttal to Jesse's opening statement. You can start whenever.
Thank you. So, Tiny, thank you for your opening statement. I do appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get into this. You did first say that your job here is not to convince people whether or not whether or not morality is objective or subjective. That is fine, but you are here to convince people that subjective morality is safe for society. And unfortunately, when we look at what you just laid out, you actually upheld the resolution, letting everyone know, because you gave examples. You gave authoritarianism, you gave Mustache Man, and I think you gave Stalin. All of those people under subjective morality, you have no claim, you have no basis that anything that they were doing is wrong. Why? Because when you look at their ideology, especially that of Mustache Man, he absolutely used World War I and the fact that Germany had to take responsibility for World War I and the fact that they were very low in morale. He used that to uphold the morale and say, you know what? Because they blamed us for things that they should not have blamed them for, etc., etc. Listen to me. The Germans, we are supreme. We are not these horrible people. So because of this very subjective view that Mustache Man was able to take, he was able to literally rally troops against an entire nation and promote genocide, all based on his subjective rules. If we were to take morality as objective, meaning that objectively these things are wrong, then Mustache Man would have had a harder time, or people would have been able to step in and say, hey, I feel that this is wrong, or this is wrong objectively. And because this is wrong objectively, then my opinion has little to do with it. So I feel that that's interesting. I also feel that it's interesting how you categorized with absolutely no basis for your substantiation and claim. You said that things like women's right and chattel slavery were only changed because of subjective viewpoints, but you didn't give any sort of data or proof on that. So what I would actually declare to you is that women's rights and chattel slavery were changed because of an objective view. To say that even if this person views Black people or minorities underneath them, even if that's their subjective viewpoint, objectively, that is wrong. The same with gender bias. Even if a man feels that a woman is subjectively beneath him or inferior to him, objectively, that is wrong. So even the 2 circumstances that actually the 3 that you brought up, that being women's rights, chattel slavery, and Mustache Man, all actually are going to affirm the resolution and not negate it. What you did not do is show me where these sort of opinions, and you also did not show the audience where these sort of opinions that subjective morality are based upon actually uphold society, because they don't. The definition that you actually gave for objectivity ruins this case for you. Let's go back over it. Objective, real outside of the mind. Okay. So if now we have defined objective morality as real and outside of the mind, then if we take your stance, Tiny, then we have absolutely no way to tell a criminal that what he has done is wrong. You have no way to coherently uphold any law within your society, because morality is not real. It is only something that I deem. So this is going to be a problem. I don't know quite how much time do I have left for this?
55 seconds.
Oh, 55 seconds. Okay. Well, I was going to say I don't really have much left to say, so that's actually perfect timing. So let's just go back over it. The resolution being subjective morality is dangerous and harmful to society. We see why. Because when morality is based on opinions, there is no real right or wrong. And when there is no real right or wrong, you cannot uphold laws, you cannot enforce laws, and it really will just lead to the purge. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, with that, you have 22 seconds on the clock. So Jesse, it's now your time. You get 5 minutes to rebuttal to Wisdom's opening statement. I can start that whenever you say your first word.
Thank you. 5 minutes of straw manning as well. I do have like rebuttal and cross-examining questions. I would like to know, Wisdom, how do you derive your morality?
Actually, this is just time for like a rebuttal. Like, give your thoughts on like what.
Oh, we're just giving thoughts? Oh, my bad.
Yeah, like rebuttaling thoughts. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, Coco, are you saying that she can't like cross-examine her? Like she can't like?
I thought that we're doing cross-exam.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a rebuttal section where she just gives her thoughts on like her opening statement.
Oh, for like
Right.
how long is that? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The cross-examination comes afterwards. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's different from like the priors. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I thought okay. Sorry, that was my bad, y'all. You can put this as part of my time.
Oh no, you're good. I paused the time, but go ahead.
Okay. I think that your rebuttal was just a complete straw man of everything I had said. I didn't use 3 examples in the same way. I was giving examples of how subjective, where was it at? How subjective principles have been applied and how people were able to change over time and morality changed over time through consensus and through allowing for change, through allowing other people's opinions. And then I gave examples of authoritarianism. I gave examples of objective and absolutist principles that were not good and how that is dangerous to society. So I didn't give all those as an example of all those being subjective. I gave those as an example of applying moral principles that are like subjective moral principles or objective, like it's my way and it's nothing else, and that it has to be this way across the board. I wasn't really prepared for like a rebuttal on this. I apologize. So I guess we can just go ahead and go to the cross exam. That was my bad.
Okay, no, you're totally fine. But yeah, with that, openings and the rebuttal section is like done. Yeah, and next time I'll try to like keep you guys more updated on like, the different sections and stuff like that. But now we're going to go into our first round of cross-examination. So Wisdom, you're going to get 5 minutes to cross-examine Jesse, and I can start that whenever you're ready.
Let's start now. So, Jesse, can you explain how your example of Mustache Man can you show me how your example of Mustache Man negates the resolution?
What do you mean negates the resolution?
So you brought up Mustache Man. Hold on. So in your opening statement, you brought up Mustache Man to negate the resolution, correct?
To negate that, like absolute principles, like absolute or objective morality principles that are based on that would be more dangerous.
Okay, so how does your example of Mustache Man negate the resolution? How does your example show that objective morality is dangerous?
Because what happened was bad.
Okay, so what is subjective morality?
Subjective morality, as I said earlier, subjective morality would be based on. It would be based on principles based on individuals' opinions or personal beliefs or cultural norms.
So hold on. So Mustache Man's actions were based on his personal opinion, correct?
And his personal opinion should be the objective standard.
No. You just said subjective morality is fine. Then you said that Mustache Man's actions were based on his opinion. So do you see the contradiction in your logic?
No. I don't.
Okay.
Because I'm saying like of authoritarianism that was stemmed from. Okay, go ahead.
Is it okay for me to be racist?
No, racism is not okay.
Okay, but is it objectively not okay or subjectively not okay?
I would say for me, subjectively, that's not okay.
But is it objectively okay for me to be racist?
I don't think anything is objectively okay.
Okay. So if I wanted to harm anyone, just because they dislike the color purple and I love the color purple, should that be allowed or should I go to jail for that? My 7-year-old said jail, but I don't know what she said. If I don't like the color purple and somebody else does, is it okay for me to harm them or should I go to jail for that?
If you harm somebody for that, you should go to jail, not because of why? Because you harmed somebody.
Okay, so how do we make rules? Okay, so if morality is subjective, then let's get to the crux of the matter. If morality is subjective, then how can we coherently put people in jail for things that are just based on our opinion?
Because we make laws.
Who makes laws? But it's just based on opinion?
People
It's
make laws.
opinion. So then going back to the paradox that you did not respond to, this is why I laid out that paradox in my opening statement. Remember Solomon? So Solomon was the one making the laws in that case. So is it okay? Is it fine what he did?
No.
Why?
Why? Because he caused harm. He did something that's not okay.
Okay, so then, but his subjective morality was harmful to the society, correct?
Yeah, what he did was harmful.
Okay, so then, now we can end the debate because you literally just affirmed the resolution. When I just said to you, was his subjective morality harmful to his society? And you said, yes, you affirmed the resolution. Do you understand that?
No.
You did, and it's recorded. It's fine, though. Okay, so that's fine. Are abstract truths a reality?
Abstract truths. I'm not familiar with abstract truths.
Okay. Are things that are abstract, are they reality?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with abstract truths. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Are cultural norms innate?
Cultural norms. I don't think that cultural norms are necessarily innate. I think that a lot of things are taught and acquired, like through what their environment, who they're around.
Okay, and so again, if cultural norms are not innate, but they are just determined by other people, then how do we determine, again, if anything is good or bad? Is it based on science or what is it based on? Literally just opinion?
I think it's based on consensus, and I think it's based on change. It's based on opinion. It's based on the mind.
Okay. Is a totally nihilistic state conducive to a productive society?
A totally nihilistic state?
Yeah, would that be okay for society?
I wouldn't think so.
Why not? So again, you just concede it. Because a totally nihilistic state is just somebody doing what they want to do all the time.
And I'm cutting it off right there. That's the end.
Okay, so we have 2 concessions, but it's fine. Okay.
That was the end of Wisdom's cross-examination. Jessy, it's going to be your turn for the first round of cross-examination. I'll start your 5 minutes whenever you say your first word.
Sure. I wanted to ask, how do you derive morality?
I derive morality from my Lord. His laws are written on my heart.
Okay. Does your Lord have a mind?
Of course.
So do these morals exist outside of his mind?
Do they exist outside of his mind? They exist within me also. They exist outside of his mind. They come forth from him into the world.
Okay. Do you think that if morality is do you think by morality being subjective, does that to you mean that anything goes, quote unquote?
I don't think that it means anything goes. I think that it takes away the judgment standard so that even if you disagree with what is going, there's not much you're going to be able to do about it.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I don't think that not everything goes. Can you tell me a society that doesn't have laws?
Again, it doesn't matter what those laws are. You could have a society that allows you to pass your children through the fire. And if that's fine with them, then that's fine with you. No, that would objectively be wrong.
Okay, but that's not what I was asking. But do you know any society that doesn't have laws?
Do I know any society? Yeah, there are societies that don't have laws. They're called I forgot what they were called. But yeah, there are some societies that don't have laws. Just completely free. I think it would lead to chaos, though. But that's my, I guess, subjective opinion. And since we're talking about subjective morality, I don't know if that would be safe for society. I think it would be dangerous.
Okay. What makes something good or what makes something right? How do you know what's written in your heart and what if it's good or right or good or bad or discern?
Generally, just by a general rule, denying your flesh. So, for example, the example I gave you about people liking purple and I don't, right? So, thinking of people before you think of yourself, putting your flesh second, not having completely nihilistic tendencies, that sort of thing.
Putting your flesh second. So just not
Correct.
caring about this life.
So basically the opposite of what you're saying, because if I think objectively, I'm not always thinking about my internal wants and needs, my immediate wants and needs. I'm thinking objectively, what is best for society or what is best for everyone around me.
Okay. And what would make that good? Like, why would that be good?
Generally, that would be good because people would be safer and happier, but I'm not sure how this is proving your negation of the topic.
It's no problem. I'm just trying to get an understanding of like if what would be the alternative to a subjective morality. That's what I'm trying to get understanding, because the claim is that subjective morality is harmful to a stable society, and I've not seen anything other than subjective morality amongst people. I think belief is, yeah.
So I would say that the reason why objective morality then is better or more desirable is because something like stealing, okay, let's just use something easy peasy. Something like stealing, we objectively say is wrong. That means that 9 out of 10 people, right, that are thinking with a functional mind would objectively say that is wrong. If subjective morality is a thing, then objectively it doesn't matter, right? If I want to steal, I'm going to steal. And if I feel that that's morally right to do, you can't judge me on it. If you can't judge me on it, you can't really put me in jail. You can't do anything to me. You might steal back from me, right? But that's pretty much it.
But what if someone is stealing food because they're starving or their kid is starving? Like, is it still objectively wrong? If they're stealing from someone who has plentiful food?
I would still say that stealing is objectively wrong. Now, in that scenario, people do objectively wrong things all the time because they have to weigh their circumstances. But they would no doubt feel guilty about that thing, even if it was an internal conviction, because they know objectively that what they did was wrong, even if subjectively they were able to justify that action.
Okay. So do you think like lying is always wrong? The same way?
Objectively, of course, lying is always wrong. But again, subjectively, people tend to do these things, and that's when chaos ensues.
Okay. And can you give me another example of this chaos that ensues? Like, what is the chaos that you're referring to compared to like authoritarianism?
My whole entire opening speech was about this. I gave you Solomon's paradox.
Okay.
That was the whole purpose of the paradox, was to frame this entire thing.
Okay. How much time is left?
6 seconds.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay, we're going to call it right there. Wisdomsongs, you're going to begin the second round of cross-examination. Your 5 minutes is going to start when you say your first word.
Okay. So let's see. Is moral behavior, would you say that that's attached to intention or action?
I think it's both.
Okay. Does consciousness determine our moral standard, or how is that moral standard determined?
A moral standard? I think it's something that we determine individually, because I think it's something that's subjective. I think it's determined through experience. Sometimes it's determined through failing. Like maybe you've done something wrong before that you thought that was right, but then over time it was wrong. Which is another reason I think that subjective morality is a good thing, because you're allowing that change. You're allowing for change. You're allowing for critique. You're allowing to change your moral principles.
So based on what you're saying, and you mentioned chattel slavery earlier. So when chattel slavery was a thing and the slave owners were justifying it based on their subjective view, what is that? Was it okay then and it's not okay now?
No, I don't think slavery is ever okay. I don't think it's good to own other people's property in any.
You don't think it's okay, but no. So I do
Owning
appreciate that,
property
Tiny.
is not good.
Yeah, no, I truly appreciate your viewpoint on that. But again, that's a subjective viewpoint. So unfortunately for my ancestors, they were held in chains by people who also subjectively felt it was okay. So even though you're subjectively saying it's not okay, those people 200 years ago said that it was okay. So what I'm asking you now is the society that my ancestors lived in, was that harmful to them or was that okay?
It was harmful.
Okay. But maybe if there had been an objective standard that said slavery is wrong, right? It's not based on your subjectivity of these people, right? Objectively is wrong, then those people probably wouldn't have been held in chains, correct?
Correct. But I also think that they thought that that was objectively okay.
I don't think that they did.
I'm pretty sure
but
they
okay,
did.
maybe. Okay, maybe. So in a previous debate, you did refer to God as a bitch. Do you repent from that?
I don't repent. Why do I need to repent?
So do you apologize for that?
To whom should I apologize for calling God a bitch?
I'm just wondering, is that something
no.
that you're still is that a view that you still hold to?
Yeah, God's still a bitch.
He is. Okay. And is that a subjective opinion on God or is that an objective opinion on God?
Oh, that's my opinion on God.
Okay. So would you agree that calling someone that attributes a specific nature or character to them?
Yeah.
Okay. So
based on their character.
Right. So can something have a nature if they do not have being?
Yeah.
How?
I think Thanos is a bitch.
But can
Does
something
Thanos have
but
is a being? Is Thanos a being?
So then when you say that God is a bitch, you don't really mean that. You're just saying it out of anger then, correct? Because if God doesn't have being, then your words actually have no weight or meaning, correct?
I mean, you could say that, but I mean, if God's real, he's still a bitch.
Okay. So that's fine. So do you believe that moral values are subjective, meaning that right and wrong will literally vary depending on individual preferences? Is that what you're saying here tonight?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Okay. So since you're saying that moral values are subjective, are you really trying to say that right and wrong just vary based on individual preferences?
Yes.
Okay. So if right or wrong vary based on individual preferences, how is that safe for a society?
Because I think through consensus and allowance for change, through consensus, like people being able to share their opinions, being able to share how something is affecting them or harming them, and being open to that and being open for change and not having authoritarian or absolutist values, then we would be able to see progress with our society. And as we have.
Do you understand that if society tomorrow all woke up and had the opinion that short people should be put in chains, that based on your worldview, that would be okay?
No, that wouldn't. I'm a short person.
Why not?
I'm a short person.
I'm a short
and
person
I have empathy.
also. Okay, we're not talking about you, Tiny. We're talking about if tomorrow all of society, that means that 51% of the people that we live around woke up and decided that me and you, because we're under a certain height, should be put in chains, that based on your moral view, it would be okay.
Yeah, but
ending the round there. That would be the end of the cross-examination. Tiniest Smalls, it's going to be your turn to end the second round of cross-examination, and then we will continue to closing statements.
Okay.
But I can start your 5 whenever you say your first word.
Okay. Do you disagree that God's a bitch? Whether he's real or not?
Well, I believe that he is real, so I disagree that he is a bitch. That's actually why I wanted to debate you.
That's no problem. So how do you access these morals from God? Like they're written on your heart. Without your book, would you have these morals?
Yes, I would, because they're written on my heart.
How do you know?
I know because I know because innately I have a moral compass. Innately I have a conscience that says this is right and this is wrong. When I ask you about that same consciousness and innate morality, you said that did not exist.
Okay. If someone who goes by objective principles or disagreed with you, would you think that morals are still objective and that's still a good thing?
Wait, can you rephrase that question?
If someone who also had objective principles disagreed with you, would you still agree that that moral principles are objective and that should be objective for
I don't.
society?
It disagreed with me in what way?
If someone was a Christian and they said that they disagreed with something that you said, that what if they said that objectively or what if they said that stealing isn't always wrong or lying isn't always wrong, but they still held to a lot of other objective principles?
Well, yeah, I would say that they were wrong, but I've not met a Christian that said it's okay to steal. But I mean, if I did meet one, of course they would be wrong.
Okay. Do you think that your morals are superior to mine or other people?
So I don't know what your morals are in particular, so I can't say that. But I would say that your view of subjective morality is incorrect.
What makes it incorrect?
The whole debate, you've already conceded that it's incorrect. You've already conceded that subjective morality is dangerous to society. We can replay the debate.
No, I didn't.
You did. You conceded twice.
Okay. So do you think that you have better morals than anybody?
Do I think I have better morals than anybody?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have better morals than anybody. Some people don't curse. I just cursed 5 minutes ago.
What about someone who's Muslim?
I think your morals are superior? My morals are better than a Muslim's morals. I believe that my discernment is better than a Muslim's discernment because they're Muslim.
Okay. So I think that this sort of like moral framework leads to moral superiority, which also again leads to like authoritarianism. It leads to absolutists. It leads to, again, as I said in my opener, increased risk for human conflict that can't be resolved. Like, because if someone has a differing opinion in societies, then these societies would come against each other, or the groups of people would come against each other against these norms that are being placed on people that doesn't allow room for change. It doesn't allow room for opinions. It doesn't allow for growth. So,
okay. Okay.
No problem. With that, I'll go ahead and I'll just concede the rest of my time.
Okay, so there's going to be that's going to be 1 minute and 35 seconds left on the clock. And so now we're going to proceed to our closing statements. Let me check. It's going to be 3 minutes for the affirmation and 3 minutes for the opposition. So Wisdom, I can start your 3 minutes whenever you say your first word.
Okay, so 3 minutes. So first of all, let me just thank everybody here. God bless you guys. Thanks for coming out. Tiny, thanks for debating with me. This has been great. AR and Coco, thanks for hosting, etc., etc. Everybody here that's Christian, God bless you guys. And all atheists, please come to Christ. Okay, so with that, let's get to it. Tonight's topic has been 100% affirmed. The topic was this: subjective morality is dangerous to society. I clearly have affirmed the topic with my paradox and everything that I've said to you tonight. It's been proven that subjective morality is dangerous. But then even more importantly than my subjective opinion is Tiny's, because Tiny also conceded 2 times that subjective morality was dangerous to society. And in fact, she conceded 3, because when we just talked about the chattel slavery, she conceded again. So because of that, I don't know where we're supposed to go with tonight's debate, other than here's what I would hope all atheists, even if you do not affirm that God is the reason for your objective morality, you should still figure out how to affirm some sort of objective morality, even if it's going to be, evolution. I don't know, something. I don't know what y'all want to use, but something you're going to have to start using, because this has been a complete disaster. Nowhere, neither in her rebuttal, not in her opening statement, not even in cross-examination, did Tiny ever negate the resolution. Never did she show you that subjective morality would lead to anything but chaos. Once again, even using her own examples of Mustache Man, we got right back to the position that he was using subjective morality, and that in fact was dangerous to society. The same with the chattel slavery that she brought up. All of these were based on people's subjective opinions. It's not right. And when we allow morality to just come down to opinion, then you're really in a bad spot, you guys, because different people's behaviors and culture trends and what makes them happy and sad is pretty fleeting. So if we're allowing society to say that morality is being dictated by people that we don't even know or care about, that's wrong. So we have to have some sort of objective standard. Let me see, what else? The paradox was completely untouched, right? Even if she didn't respect the paradox itself, you probably still should have mentioned it, because Solomon there, he's doing a harmful thing, but he was also doing a good thing. And so because of the good that people saw within him, they trusted him, Tiny. And because they trusted him and he was also their lawmaker, he absolutely made laws and enforced laws that were dangerous to his society. There we go.
Wait, what happened to the big screen?
Oh, I just put their topic on the screen so everyone could know like what the topic was. They were doing their. You're right. But Tiny Smalls, now you get your closing statements. It's 3 minutes, and I'll start whenever you say your first word.
Okay. I want to thank everybody again for hosting this. I want to thank Wisdomsong also for, again, inviting me for this conversation. And then to thank everybody for listening. I do want to thank W for Christians cussing subjectively. I think more Christians should cuss. I think life would probably be a lot better. I think that, I think that these philosophical debates definitely point me like in directions to look in. I definitely agree. Like I'm still learning on how to formulate these types of arguments. I normally don't debate these things. So I appreciate giving me like a direction to go in when looking into these things. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the help I've gotten. I try to stay kind of away from the philosophical era, but I've definitely learned a lot. I don't appreciate being lied about. I did not concede, not once. I did not. If I don't know something, I'll say I don't know, and I'll answer honestly. But not once was I asked, "Do you concede?" or did I mention conceding? But that's okay. And I'm okay with taking an L. I know I'm going to get feedback from friends, from other people, and I appreciate that too. I appreciate any feedback. I still appreciate you, Wisdomsongs. To those that are believers, it's not too late to ditch your relationship with God and get a relationship with reality. And with that, I'll concede my time.
Okay, and with that, you had 1 minute and 40 seconds left. So that will conclude the debate. I want to take this moment to say thank you to both of the competitors, and thank you, AR, for hosting this and having me be the co-host. Thank you, everyone that's here. We're going to put up a poll for like everyone to vote on who you thought won. I do want to say that the audience poll is not a accurate representation of who won.
Coco and I will now.
There are variables that contribute to what the audience vote ends up being. Including like who was here and people voting however they choose to vote. So with that, we're going to go into 20 minutes of like audience comments, critiques, questions. So yeah, we can start inviting people up, but yeah, we'll get that poll started. AR, I think you have to make the poll.
Yeah.
I think no, you can make the poll too. By the way,
I can.
It don't have to be me. I mean, if you know how to make the poll, you can make the poll. I could do it. Though.
Hold on, let me see if I can.
If you can, if you know how to do it.
I have to.
Is it a quick poll? Do I hit quick poll? I don't even know, bro.
I would do like a text poll and say.
How do I do that? How do I damn.
Let's see.
Let's see here.
But listen here, dudes. I've climbed the highest mountains. And I've taken Andre the Giant, dudes, and I've slammed him down. But if anybody comes after my boy, Coco, we got a problem. And you're going to reach the pythons of the Hulkster and the Mikester. You know what I'm talking about, dudes.
Hi, J Mike.
Thank you so much, J Mike. I love J Mike. He's awesome.
Yeah.
If we're into critiques or not.
Yeah, go ahead, just Jim. You can go next while we're figuring out the poll
You want to
situation.
go first?
I don't know if Rhaegar wants to go.
Oh, or either one, you know.
Well, I think Angel said she wanted to go first, and then
I
I'm
do
fine.
actually.
Okay, I'll go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, Angel. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Because in the beginning, Wisdom mentioned something about gender and not caring about gender. You do realize some people don't have a gender.
Is that a question? Yeah, sure.
No, it's not a question, it's a statement.
Okay.
Was that it? I wasn't sure if that was a... Okay. Rhaegar, do you want to
It's a
go?
very upset statement, yes.
Go first, Jim.
Look, I'll just ask like 3 really simple questions to Wisdom. What are you taking objective morality to be? How it's understood, at least within meta-ethics.
Say objective morality is a truth that exists outside of the mind, so it has real implications.
So we understand that objective morality, at least in meta-ethics, is going to be a thesis that moral propositions are made true in virtue of something outside of mind or stances, right? There's something outside of a mind or a stance that makes those moral propositions true. And subjective morality is going to be the opposite, right? Moral propositions are made true in virtue of minds or stances. So here's my question. In your Solomon example, if all of the moral propositions that Solomon was holding to in order to act the way that he did were made true in virtue of something outside of his mind or stance, would Solomon still be acting in a bad way?
Yeah, there's based on the paradox that I presented, there's no way that would be the case. Because objectively,
Can you engage with the question?
Well, yeah, engaging with that question, that was a fallacy because the paradox that I gave you doesn't lend that at all.
It's not a fallacy. Questions can't be fallacies. I'm asking a question.
If you want to use something else, because,
arguments can be fallacious.
So well, your argument is fallacious. So
yeah, well, if that wasn't an argument, it's a question.
Excuse me, Jim. In the paradox, so you used my character Solomon, and with that character, it's not going to match. You can use a different character. You can use a different name.
I understand. Look, I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand how you're crashing out right now, right? And the reason that you're crashing out is because the Solomon example dealt with normative ethics. It didn't deal with meta-ethics, which is the subject of the conversation. Right?
So if you want to debate my paradox, we can do that at a different time. We're not debating my paradox right now. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm giving you a critique on your argumentation, right? The critique is that throughout the whole debate, what you did was address normative ethics, not meta-ethics. And an example of that is if that we were to levy the same critique in terms of what objective morality means onto your own paradox, you would fall into absurdity because you would say that if the norms that Solomon was following were objective, they would still be bad. So you just disproved your whole argument.
Okay, so again, me and Tiny had a debate. I didn't disprove my whole argument at all. These points were not brought up by her. If you would like to have this debate again, I can schedule it with you. But okay, thanks for your opinion.
Coco, AR, is it next question or?
I can ask a question real quick.
Well, shut up, Emmanuel. I had a question.
Yo, Cage, yo, listen. You motherfucker. All right, anyways, Wisdom. How do you gauge that, God dishes out morals?
So I gauge God dishes out morals because I'm Christian.
Yeah, like,
however, this debate was not. This hold on. So I'm answering.
Yeah, we're
you.
asking
so
questions.
this.
We're not
So
debating.
I'm answering you. I'm answering you. So this debate was not about God being the objective standard, just rather objectivity was better than subjectivity. However, if you're asking my personal opinion on it, yes, I do get my morals and I do ground my morals in God.
Wait, so you were just arguing that? Then how does wait what you okay? So you were just arguing the meta ethical position about objective morality being better,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, the debate topic was literally nothing about God, and this is I
Yeah,
think
I
why
know,
Jim
but
was
what
confused.
exactly?
The
So
topic,
okay. So like with the paradox or the paradigm you're trying to put tiniest into, right? How exactly would it follow that by virtue of it being subjective or objective, either actions were better or worse?
so subjective okay, so the topic is that subjective morality is harmful to society.
Yeah,
In the
yeah. But
paradox
so listen, you gave a
in the
paradox.
paradox that was shown, the character Solomon, he was loved by everyone. He was the leader, and his subjective standard became the law. That is how everyone in his society function based on his subjective standard. So because
Yeah,
of
but
that,
listen.
it
So if
was
I levied,
danger. So hold on. So because of
I
that,
get it.
it was dangerous. So once again, upholding the resolution. Now, if you would like to negate the resolution, you can do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the negation is within the paradox itself. It doesn't follow that because the truth maker of the moral propositions or the laws or the norms he was following, right, are indexed by his stance, that they would be better for society if they were indexed by something that was not of his stance. That doesn't even make sense. So if I ran the same paradox and just told you that his propositions or his norms that he's following that make him do these things are levied by a stance independent thing, would that follow that it would be better?
Again, there's no objective standard that's going to say schmurdering lots and lots and lots of people is good. And if you could find that objective standard, then that could be your argument against it.
Okay, but we do have to move on to other guests and other questions just to make sure we get to everybody. But towards the end of the event, we can have everybody can free reign, ask questions and stuff like that. But Rhaegar, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm not really this combative. A question for either of you, to just answer which one of you want to answer it. Exactly, Tiny, Jesse, what form of subjectivism were you defending? And Wisdom, what form of subjectivism were you critiquing? Because just to be clear on my question, some of the answers that you were providing, Jesse, were from different forms that are sort of not agreeing with each other. And some of the components in the paradox that you gave, Wisdom, are from different forms of subjectivism that don't agree with each other. So
she didn't specify. She just said that she held to subjective morality, but that she didn't specify which kind in particular.
Okay, so you were just critiquing what?
Subjective morality in general.
What,
to see where she would go with that, because subjective morality, as she defined it, was, I think that she defined objective as anything outside of the mind, and I
said objective is real outside of the mind, belief or stance, and subjective was based on individuals' opinions, personal beliefs, or cultural.
That's it. And so since she defined subjective morality like that, this is exactly why the paradox was set up the way it was, and the debate was set up the way it was.
Just really quickly, it doesn't. Okay, I'm sorry for my question. Clearly, I was confused because it doesn't sound like she was giving subjectivism. It sounds like she was giving anti-realism, which is not something that I heard from the critique. So maybe
that's fine, but
because I'm Mix, please shut up.
You're not the judge, so no influence, please.
Dude, he's giving critique. Shut up.
Yeah, one person at a time. We can't be doing that. That's not okay.
So maybe now that I understand, I guess if I may ask a second question, Wisdom, with your paradox and its potency, how does it account for all of the anti-realist views that might not be truth-making of preferences? Maybe they're, some non-cog or some...
Well, and again, that paradox was written specifically for Tiny tonight. So, and again, she didn't address it. I'm really excited that you guys are all addressing it, and we can talk about it later. But that specific paradox was specifically for her debate tonight because of the way that she defined subjective morality. Okay,
and my last thing before I go, because I want to move on. Jesse, you do you hold a distinction between anti-realism and subjectivism?
I didn't look into it all that much, but between subjectivism and anti-realism, I don't. Just because mainly I don't have a stance on that right now.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, I've read some on it, but again, so this is all like new to me. I have read about it, but not enough to come to my own conclusion. But I appreciate it.
Okay, with that, we can move on to the next guest. Kiji, you want to go?
Sure, just a quick thing. The whole time, Wisdom, you were asking Tinius about moral dilemmas. You're not asking where or how she grounds her moral claim. You just kept asking, is murder bad? Oh, is theft bad? Oh, you agree? You conceded. That's all I kept hearing.
No. So how she conceded, and again, it's all on record and it's fine. It can be clipped and shown to you. But how she conceded was I specifically said, were Schmittler's actions subjective or objective? And she said they were subjective. And I said, was that harmful to society? To which she said, yes. This is a concession. The resolution is literally subjective morality is harmful to society.
Would you not
She
agree?
conceded 3 times.
Would you not agree that during the Spanish Inquisition or the Crusades or anything like that are not also subjective but disguised as objective?
No, I would disagree with that. And again, her concession. And if you wanted to debate God in the Crusades, again, that's a whole different debate.
Yeah,
but as far as hold on, Tiny, hold on. I'm not lying. It's all on record. But as far as her concession, it was literally a concession in 2 questions. Was Schmittler's actions, were they subjective? The answer was yes. Was that harmful to society? The answer was also yes. This logically flows that the resolution was affirmed.
Again, right? There's no difference between what the religious crusades and Spanish Inquisition, what the Roman Empire did to spread said religion. There's no difference. Provide a symmetry breaker between the two.
And the topic, Dwight, was, is subjective morality dangerous to society? And again, you guys are asking me how I define subjectivity. Tiny defines subjectivity as simply opinion. We have shown through this debate, both her and I, where that is dangerous to society. So win confirmation bias for you people that don't want to admit that.
Well, I'm asking, where's the difference between the two? You're talking about a particular non-religious guy in the form of H-Man versus a religious regime, which I gave 3 examples. And you're saying, well, that's not the question, but the question is subjective over objective.
Yeah, and again, I didn't bring up Schmittler. She brought up Schmittler.
But don't you believe that these religious people are also doing the subjectivity masked as objectivity, or vice versa?
No, I don't. I do not. And again, that would be an entire debate why we would talk about the motives of people following Yahweh versus Schmittler. See, she conceded that Schmittler's actions were subjective. She could have said no. Hold on. She could have said no. She could have said no, and we would have went a different direction. She, in fact, said yes. Right now, I keep telling you no, to which you keep trying to press me into a corner. If you want to have a debate about this would be a separate thing.
Okay, we're gonna have to end it there, so we can move on to the other guest. Eric, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, I mean, I won't be super long. The issue is neither of you are really well versed on what the discussion between moral, subjective, and objective is. And in the case that, like, the shape of the earth itself is round objectively, there's people that still believe in flat earth and will hold the positions that these certain things are the way that they are, saying that the earth is flat. It can be the case that morality is objective, but you hold a subjective aspect saying that at this moment I believe said thing could be true. So in the case that something like small mustache man could have an opinion on said thing, the objective morality could still exist. Normative ethics are and the discussions of what ought to be happen are not the same discussion as we are bringing into here. So if you're saying that morality has to be objective, it is irrelevant on the normative prospect. You didn't say why morality had to be objective or discuss why, if it was subjective to stance of the independence of like a person's mind, why this would be a bad thing. You're just saying that normative ethics that are subjective are a bad thing. These are two different topics. And so I don't think neither of you have read enough of the literature to know what is being discussed on this concepts.
Well, that might be true to a certain extent. However, I will say this: she is the one that says that she held to subjective morality, which is the only reason why I asked her to do this particular debate. Based on her definition of subjective morality that she gave is how I came up with this debate topic. So again, her being the subjective moralist, she could have asked me all these questions in her rebuttal or in her cross-examination. I laid out a very clear paradox to be flowed. If there was something wrong with it based on her holding of subjective morality, she could have brought that up. It was never brought up. So to bring it up right here and right now is a bit, I don't know. This is something that I think we should do at a different time, honestly.
I'm just pointing out both did not study. That's why I said both didn't read the information all the way to derive a true conclusion to this.
Yeah,
so this is,
I don't know. I think that I think that that's your subjective opinion, and I appreciate it from you.
All right, but also really quick, let me just jump in to say, look, I'm not AR. This is his live, but mods, we can stop kicking in the mix from the panel. We want to get everybody up here to ask questions or give critiques, but in the mix, you can't interrupt somebody when they're in the middle of like asking their question. So like that's why you were kicked in the first place. So let's be polite, because we do have to watch out for time and give everyone a fair turn with both of the debaters. So just putting that out there. I'm gonna let these people go, and then we're gonna try to bring as many people up here as we can. But thank you, Eric, for your candor points. Do you guys want to finish off, or can we move to the next question?
Eric, are you okay?
We're good.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Tiny Smalls, you got it. Tiny Science, you got it.
I already checked the poll.
Oh, I have a question for Wisdomsongs. Is it objectively bad to lie?
We went through this. Yes, it is.
Can I bring up what Tiny has?
Well, I do want to say that saying that she conceded when she said that Schindler, or Mustache Man, had an objective set of morals, she didn't concede or say that it was subjective. You might have misheard.
Tiny stop. She absolutely
might have misheard. You might have misheard.
Okay.
But this is incorrect.
So Tiny is small. It's Jesse. When I asked you if Schmittler's actions were subjective, did you not say yes, that they were subjective?
I said that he had absolutist principles based on objective principles.
When I asked you, were his actions subjective, did you not say yes?
What he did, or what he chose to do?
Can you just say yes or no? Because your fans are waiting.
No, I'm not answering anything.
When I asked you
can respond to your critique.
So Tiny, you see how she's not
clarifying what I said.
Because she does not want to cook herself. She knows that it's going to be posted where she absolutely answered. I'm not strawmanning. She
everything I've said, you strawman.
Tiny, answer yes or no. Answer yes or no, Tiny. When I asked you, were Schmittler's actions subjective? Did you say yes or no?
Well, his actions were subjective. What he did was based on absolutist objective principles.
Okay, and I asked you
what he did was subjective
actions. Okay, so then I asked you, were his subjective actions, were they harmful to the society? And what was your response?
His actions that were based on absolutist principles were harmful to society, yeah.
Okay. So, subjective actions were harmful to society. Thank you.
Coco, what would you like to say?
We do got to keep this orderly, but okay, that was cool. We can move
next.
Is that it for that? Sorry, my brain is keeping track of a lot of.
Everywhere.
Can I ask the judges or the host a question about what just occurred?
Yeah. You can go next.
Wait his turn,
or. Well,
next.
That goes
next. There was a turn because no one said there were turns. People were just speaking over each other and asserting that there were turns. But okay.
Wait, hold on.
Speaking over each other, there's an order of people coming up here and asking questions.
Oh yeah.
That's why even content.
Hold on. Wait. Okay, so
not in order. But.
So in the mix was here earlier, but he got dropped. Who dropped him again? Mods.
I didn't do anything.
God bless you, Kimber.
Okay. Darth Nerder, go ahead. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're trying to get him in the mix.
I just wanted to reframe something because there keeps being this talk of like concession and going to the recording and stuff, and it's not really a gotcha. The thing that you're leaning on and the hill that you're dying on is this ambiguity in the original framing of the topic, where it says, "Is subjective morality harmful to society?" The problem is that it doesn't explicitly state that, and I think you're misinterpreting that question as, is subjective morality.
The topic. First of all, I'm not misinterpreting anything. I literally created the topic.
The middle
so don't
of
say
me
I'm
speaking
misinterpreting
is
the
not
topic.
is not a sign for you to speak.
Maybe you're misinterpreting the topic.
Excuse me?
Maybe that's who's misinterpreting the topic.
Excuse me?
Guys, we gotta let the people asking questions finish. I know that there's a lot invested in this debate. I understand that.
Wisdom.
Wait, hold on.
Wisdom starts from humility.
Wait, hold on. But like everyone, because there has been a little bit of like arguments regarding like the people asking questions and the debaters. I understand that there's a lot of emotion invested into this debate, but we do have to keep this orderly so we can get to everybody and like keep this functional, because we do have people who are listening. So let's let the people who are asking questions ask questions, finish, and then, debaters can respond.
So what I was trying to say is, the question is not, is subjective morality ever harmful to society? Which is what you were trying to prove, that there are occasions where subjective morality is harmful to society. And you claim that because you proved that there's an instance of subjective morality that was harmful to society, therefore that's a concession. That's not what this is about. I believe that the question, is subjective morality harmful to society, means, is subjective morality always harmful to society? Not ever. And taking a specific example and saying, look, you just admitted that that was subjective morality and it was harmful, therefore I win, is a complete straw man. Now,
sure.
If you were to say, if you were to take like that same tack and say, is objective morality ever harmful to society? Would your answer be no?
Again, the topic is subjective morality harmful to society? It was proven both through the paradox and the rebuttal, her rebuttal and her opening statement, that yes, subjective morality is harmful. She is the one that brought up chattel slavery. She said that the slave owners' behavior and actions was based on their subjective standard. She literally affirm the resolution herself. I also affirm the resolution. Now, you guys getting up here crying about what the topic is asinine, because the topic is pretty straightforward. All she had to do was come up here and, based on her view of subjective morality, show where that is good for society. She failed to do that. So what you guys are doing is you guys are upset because she did not negate the resolution. And so you guys are trying to negate it for her. You guys have dropped every single Christian that came up here on the panel, and you guys are allowed to ask 30, 40 questions over and over and over. Right?
Okay, so
but not one Christian has been allowed. Not one Christian has been allowed to ask Tiny any questions, but you guys just keep asking the same question over and over and over, trying to debate the topic because Tiny did not debate it. So again, if you want to go ahead and schedule a
Let
debate,
me know when you're done.
you can do that. Okay.
Yeah. So once again, you did not answer my question. All you did was restate your claim. My question was about, are you saying that subjective morality is always harmful to society? Or are you claiming that the debate was about, is subjective morality ever harmful to society?
The debate was that
and
subjective morality as a standard is harmful to society. The debate was not about, now she could have tried to turn it
now, what you
and
just
talk
said,
about objective morality.
Now, literally
it was
what you just said.
subjective morality.
So literally what you just said is
stop,
always.
Don't cut me off. I didn't
You
say
just said always.
I
You
said I didn't say always. Stop. I did not. I said in general, subjective morality that she holds to, that it is harmful to society. I did not use the word always.
You didn't use the word, you inferred it. And now you even inferred it even more specifically by using the word general.
Okay. So the debate topic, right, stop interrupting me. The debate topic was because Tiny holds to subjective morality. It is a very clear-cut debate topic. Subjective morality is harmful to society. Now, if you hold to subjective morality, you should have no problem negating that resolution. We shouldn't even be here talking about this right now.
Okay.
Can I?
I'm going to drop. I think I dog walked her enough.
Can I ask one quick question? It'll be quick.
Oh, yeah, go for it, Tiny. And we do have to get to the other guests.
It'll kind of like maybe a palate cleanser too. For what it's worth, I think we both did poorly, and I would like to ask a quick yes or no question. Like, do you think women benefit from Christianity? And do you want another debate on that?
Sure.
Do you think women do women benefit from Christianity specifically?
Specifically, do women benefit from Christianity? Of course. I benefit from Christianity, and I'm a woman.
So you'd be interested in maybe setting up another one? We can get out of the philosophy realm.
Sure, you would be affirmative, and I would be negative.
Or no.
No, you. I don't think that women benefit from Christianity. You would be affirmative. Well, then, say yeah.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I thought you might just change the topic to something else that you would go affirmative on, but that's fine. I'll go affirmative, and I'll just affirm that Christianity is what
beneficial for women.
Beneficial for women. Fine, sure.
Away
from the questioning. I know you're trying to hurry up, Coco. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're totally good. I'm just like sorry. My brain is like in panic mode, keeping up with so many different things. But we're doing good. We have about 16 more minutes until we start our next debate, which is going to be Jason versus Daniel on is atheism rational? So with that, we're going to try to get to the rest of the guests. I have 3 people in the guest queue right now, and I think the next person is going to be Kai, then Solovino. And if
Solovino was here first, then Kai.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Actually, yeah, sure. In the mix, you've been dropped this entire time. Ask your question. Mods, can we allow him to be up here, please?
Right, thank you. Like, no bias, right? That's what the host said. No bias.
Yo, again, right? Like any mods that drops him.
Yeah, you already got to block.
It's gonna be demodded, okay?
Just block all of them,
please.
So just to make sure, in these questionings of wisdom, they had no influence over the overall judgment, correct? That's what I just want to make sure. That these questions that were asked to wisdom have no influence over the actual judgment, correct?
Oh, no. So for a majority of these debates, they're going to be decided by audience vote. We already got the audience vote before the questioning started.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly. I think the audience vote did go into the questioning a little bit, but we have the results already while these questions are happening.
And seeing that you addressed that there was some confirmation bias and appealing to authority being done in these questioning of wisdom, that there's no validity in their statements, correct? Because it wasn't answering the topic that was on the screen. They were giving their responses to the topic that Tiny did not deliver to wisdom or
counter-respond
to her opening introduction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll answer. I didn't respond to the opening because I wasn't prepared for a rebuttal. I just went off the top of my head there. So I agree.
So when someone says there's a concession being made when there is no rebuttal to a opening statement or point by debating format, that is a concession to that point being made. So you can't even readdress, and you did not even readdress it in your second counter rebuttal in response to that opening statement. So it would be again a second concession because the point was never addressed in a formal debate format. Correct?
Yeah. W in the mix. El Jesse.
I'm just
El
making
Jesse in the
sure.
comment.
I'm just making sure if we're using formal debate terms and logic that these are the rules that are being applied to this.
No.
Have you asked your question?
Yeah, I did, and no one can respond because it's true. Thank you.
Okay.
And can we have next time we debate, can we have like a judge also, like Russell and whoever else is doing that?
Yeah, if you ask for judges in advance, then yeah, we can like go through a process and like both of you have to agree on judges and pick out the people specifically. But yeah, we can do that.
The fact I'm a Christian and she said there's no Christians up here.
But you're a Christian?
Deconstructing Christian.
Oh,
I'm a Christian.
We all know that.
We're probably referring to like Christians who intend on staying Christian, but okay. Thank you everyone for asking your questions. Thank you for your candor. We're gonna move on to the next people. Who's going next? Kai or Sabrina?
Yes, I have a quick question for Tiny. Under subjective moral system, right? I would hold that it would be reduced down to preferences to some extent. And if that is good for society, would my preference in destroying society follow that is a good preference to hold?
No.
To destroy society?
No, it would not be good to destroy society.
Why? Is it objectively bad to destroy society?
No.
No?
It is
okay, so
bad.
why is it bad if it's not objectively bad to destroy society?
I don't know. My brain is done braining. I don't do the.
It's okay.
It would be their subject. It would be their subjective conclusion to come to that. That would happen, but it would be bad. What the outcome would be bad for that.
Okay.
What makes bad? That's something that's not desired.
Yeah. Thanks
because
for
if I'm going to
answering.
define bad, but yeah, that's the most honest answer I can get.
Yeah.
I tried not to be in the philosophy realm. I think I did poorly. I think I could have prepared better, but I'm also something that I'm not really.
You did a 10 out of 10
versed
job.
in.
I watched the debate. That would be my only critique, is my preference in destroying the society that you're trying to advocate for would, if it's reduced down to preferences,
Huh? Oh, okay. Thank y'all for having me up.
Bro,
thank you again, Wisdom.
Hold on.
Think they gotta move.
I'm sorry. I'm talking to Cage in the Discord. I'm inviting back
God
up. I
bless
did
you,
not mean to
Tiny.
kick Kai, bro. That's my bad. Holy shit.
Okay.
That was awkward, bro. I did not mean to
Yeah,
do
I think
that.
they're trying to move up to the next people, though. Thanks for having
sorry,
me
Kai,
up.
okay.
Wisdom.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll discuss that next time.
Take care.
You're good.
Okay.
We're about to take a couple more questions. I mean, we got like.
I didn't know.
10
Sorry.
minutes.
Oh, I thought it was like 1 minute. My bad.
Oh no, we got like 10 more minutes. Wait, hold on. Daniel
Did she
Green.
leave?
Daniel Green and Jason are supposed to go on at like 7:40 CST. It's 7:30 CST.
Yeah, it's 7:30 as well for me.
But let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me fix this. And then do that, I guess. Wait, what the fuck? Fixing the layout. Okay, we can take a couple more questions. Haru,
Let's hear first.
you wanna go?
Haru.
Oh, Tiny ears.
Oh my god.
I'm actually having a proper critique, believe me or not. But basically, when she started bringing up laws, what I would have personally done was it's up to the majority of the subjective opinion or something like that. Instead of saying that we just come to laws with our subjective opinion, we come to laws with individuals' fully population subjective opinion.
Thank you for that.
Because
What were you
what
asking a
she,
question? Sorry, my brain's just braining, not braining.
wow, tiniest wasn't listening to me.
I was listening. I just wasn't hearing you.
Then what did I say?
When
But basically, yeah.
when the laws were brought up, based
So
on
what was I saying about that?
you'd have to restate it again.
Wow. But basically, when the laws were brought up, I would I would have personally said, like, laws are not made by our subjective opinion, they're made by the population's subjective opinion.
Oh, I did say
Typically.
that. I said that like through consensus and through allowing for change, that's how like the laws are developed and are different. I hear what you're saying though, and why you would have said that.
Well, you conceded twice, tiniest.
Oh my gosh, Rue.
I'm on the Christian side this time. But y'all, since tiniest
Yeah,
hates
that's universal
me,
EPA.
since tiniest hates me, I guess I'll leave. Thank you for having me, AR. You're so kind.
Okay.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Anytime.
I don't think anyone hates anyone, but like, okay. So Levine, yeah, Solo, you wanna go?
Yeah. Gosh. You would think as long of a time that I had here to sit and think of my question, I could formulate it better. But I guess, what are we doing on either side to account for some of the overlap in terms of harm? Because it doesn't, like if someone asked me to debate for this particular topic, I'm not necessarily sure which side I would take. I suppose are we counting what causes the most harm overall? And if that's true, I mean, how does that make it, I guess, objectively better? I mean, certainly we could conceive of someone subjectively acting in a way that brought about results that didn't bring harm or perhaps produced a great amount of well-being, right? But we could also come up with examples for the other. So what are we doing to account for that overlap?
I mean, I think that's a good point. I think that like the wording for this topic and how we are formulating it leaves a lot of room for nuance. I would say I wouldn't know because it doesn't say like it's necessarily dangerous. It doesn't say to all societies or always. It just says dangerous to a stable society. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I think we probably could have formulated that better. It wasn't my idea. The topic wasn't, but probably could have gotten better clarification on that. But I get what you're saying.
Well, it's just like, in a world where God exists, someone going and graping someone and then unaliving them, we'd say, well, that was objectively wrong. And of course, it brought about a lot of harm. But remove God from the picture, you still have something you'd have that same action and it would produce the same amount of harm. So I'm not necessarily sure how we're establishing which one is more or less harmful. But anyhow, I appreciate the debate. Good job, you guys, and keep this kind of shit up. This is good.
Thank you,
Absolutely. We're definitely gonna host more events. But yeah, we'll try to make it more organized, and yeah, I think I'll try to be more clear when I'm like sending out the information to everybody. I think that's on me. I think it's on me. I could have like messaged
Not your
everybody.
fault. I could help.
Yeah, all the details, keeping up with everything. But
You send it to me next time, and I'll send it to as many people as I can.
But let's see. Gilgamore, you can go, and then I'm not sure how many more we can take because Jason's here, and we do have to get Daniel and get to the next one, the next debate. But go ahead, Gilgamore. We'll see.
Yes, I know that Wisdom kind of dropped from the panel, but I did want to kind of bring up something that happened during the debate. There was a specific instance where they were talking about Mustache Man, where Jesse had said that it was subjective, and then Wisdom had made a very specific claim about if morality was objective, it would either change the outcome or precede the outcome to begin with. Now, I wanted to kind of address a question and point out like a faulty assumption, a faulty cause assumption in that very specific statement. And I was going to ask, wouldn't that like wrongly assume that people would necessarily obey objective morality? And wouldn't the outcome be the same since people can just ignore like moral truths? So I wanted to kind of bring that into question before Wisdom kind of dropped from the panel.
Oh,
That's a good question. Wish I could have come to that conclusion for that questioning, but I think that's very fair to say. And I appreciate hearing that too.
That's all I wanted to bring up, so I can drop now. Thank you.
Sorry. I'm the only opponent left up here, so I'm just kind of speaking, like, not for both of us, but just in response to the whole thing.
You have 3 hosts, Youre, Coco, and moi.
I'm on the panel with Daniel, y'all. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. What's up, Daniel? Hey, good to see Daniel. Good to see Jason. Amazing. Okay, they're about to start in like 4 minutes. I'm gonna let Pupe and Pensive go, but you guys are gonna have to make it short and split up like 3 minutes that's left. But what do you guys got for us?
I just got one quick question. But she's not here anymore, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think she left. But maybe later she might come back.
The question was in regards to her saying that lying is always objectively wrong, when there are studies that show that cancer patients whose doctors lie to them about their outcomes are better off for that. So how could lying be objectively wrong there?
And mine was for her. Another one was, it had to do with Anne Frank and lying where they were. They were lying for their well-being, to live.
No.
Okay, Amanda, I guess next time we have that happen. And
Jessy.
you're trying to lie for your own life and your children's life.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what's the question again? One more time. Sorry. So I can.
Mine was that lying's not always wrong. Like in Anne Frank, she lied to keep her life alive.
Jessy,
I guess we're gonna move on. Go ahead, Pensive.
Yeah, Jessy, what framework of subjectivism are you like holding to? Because because you could have pointed out within subjectivism why Mustache Man was wrong based off of preserving human harm, like to not preserve that, right? Or you could have showed inconsistencies of other things he did, like defending the view of the G word he did, right? Which I'm not sure like you really did that as well as you should have. I'm just like, are you just running through subjectivism without any established framework?
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
This is something, again, new to me. When I established from the beginning, my idea of subjective was just principles based on individuals' opinions, personal beliefs, or cultural norms. And I didn't base that off of any specific framework. But I agree, I could have had had better support for that and could have went into more literature about it. I don't disagree with you.
Okay, well.
Sorry, I'm not more fruitful than that. The philosophical realm is new to me.
Well, definitely like check out different frameworks like emotivism or something, or prescriptivism or something.
Thank you. I looked into some of them, but those are, I'm jotting those down now. Those two I haven't really. I'm definitely gonna be listening more when it comes to the philosophical topics. I'm gonna stick with the religion part of it and listen more for philosophy side from now on. But I appreciate it, Pensive. Thank you very much. We good to go, Coco? Or AR? Whomever.
What is it?
We good to go? Are we moving on?
Is everybody done asking questions? Are we?
Yeah, I think so.
Ready to? Okay, so if everybody, yeah, we can.
Wisdom was already gone. So, thank y'all again, and wish you luck, Daniel. Best of luck, y'all. Bye, y'all.
Okay, let's try to get this going here. All right, so we have Daniel and Jason debating about, is atheism rational? Let's try to get these two people up here to show the big screen on both of them. All right, let's get Jason on here as well. All right. Coco, you there?
I forgot that was muted. But I'm here. I'm absolutely grateful for the last two debaters. Really amazing debate. Appreciate both of their candors and appreciate them for staying for questions. Now we're going to move on to Daniel Green versus Jason. Is atheism rational?